Is it possible for you to get a no personal guarantee unsecured business credit card, a MasterCard to be exact? Well, in this video, I'm going to share with you exactly how to get this MasterCard, how you can get approved for up to $12,000 and the exact steps that you need to take, even if you have a fairly new business. So I have a lot to cover in a very short period of time. So let's get into it. Okay, first and foremost, do you actually have a business set up, whether that's an LLC or an S corporation or some kind of business entity with an EIN, which stands for an employer identification number? That's essentially the social security number for your business. And that's what actually makes it a separate entity from yourself. So do you have that set up yet? Because if you don't, then you do need to take that first step to setting up your business. In fact, I do have a recommendation of a company that I like to use. I've been using them for many years. And it's best to open up a brand spanking new corporation in your home state, because what ends up happening is that when you, the owner of the company, when they ask for your personal address for your house, then it's going to match up the state that you're in. Otherwise, it's going to seem kind of shim-shammy if, for example, if you're located in California and you have a California driver's license and you're trying to, say that your company's in Delaware, for example. So that's why I like to use home state corporations if possible. So then that way you can get maximum amounts of unsecured credit. You should also have yourself a virtual office address, a local virtual office address, ideally one of those companies like Barrister, for example, Regis or Opus, one of those ones that actually not only have, cubicles where people can go and do part-time work, but they also have the ability for you to just get a post office address there, not an actual PO box, but an actual office address with a suite number, and ideally also a business phone number that rings into a receptionist that answers the phone with your business name. And so you want to be able to check those out physically going into the buildings to make sure that there's full-time offices there. Ideally, even better if there's a bunch of like little law firms, for example, in those buildings. And then that way, when they do a search for your address and they line it up with the algorithms, because yes, these people that are lenders, especially unsecured business credit card companies, they will plug in your address and make sure that you're a legitimate company. And if you're not, then they're probably not going to give you the money that you want, or they're just going to seem like you're just some kind of fly-by-night individual trying to get a no PG or no personal guarantee unsecured business credit card, and they're probably not going to give it to you. So you do need to make sure that you do these steps before you actually start the process of applying. And then you're going to have to get yourself a Dun & Bradstreet number. You can get it by going to this link down below. They will give you a free one, or you can pay for one and set up your credit profile. You will need 3 trade lines, though, to be able to start the process of setting up your own profile with Dun & Bradstreet. So I do recommend that you at least start the process of setting up those trade lines. Places you could set up trade lines with would be like, say, for example, Uline, or you could set up a trade line, for example, with Quill Office Supplies. You could also set up a trade line with Granger, which is another office supply company. You could also get a no PG line of credit with Office Depot Office Max of around, upwards of $1,500. So you could also use that as a trade line as well. So there's other companies that you could get trade lines with, and you start to establish yourself with at least 3 trade lines. You just need 3. And then once you set it up with Dun & Bradstreet and add these 3 trade lines to your own Dun & Bradstreet profile, then you're basically on and cracking, and you can now start to focus on no PG unsecured business credit cards. And so the key is you have to set up your business. You have to set it up right. So I recommend that first and foremost, you get your virtual office address with a virtual phone number that rings into a receptionist that answers the phone with your company name. And then you set up your corporation. I recommend an S corporation. That's what I particularly like. And if you get a corporation, they are born a C corporation. You will then use irs.gov form 2553 to convert it from a C corporation to an S corporation. A lot of people ask me, well, Monica, why don't I want to stay a C corporation? And then I ask them, well, do you like paying double taxes? Because if you do, then stay a C corporation. If you don't like paying double taxes at the corporate level and then, of course, at the personal level, then I recommend you convert that C corporation to an S corporation. Otherwise, if you really love paying Uncle Sam twice, then by all means, keep it a C corporation. But a lot of other people will argue saying, well, an LLC is better because some attorney online said the LLC is the greatest thing since sliced bread. The problem with the LLC, if you are not a partner, meaning you're not going to be on it with another individual, then you're going to have to be a single member LLC to be able to be compliant with the IRS, which also means that you're going to have to file a form to be able to be compliant as a single member. The problem with being a single member LLC is that you do have now a higher audit risk, okay? So if you like being audited potentially by the IRS by having that higher audit risk, then by all means, go for your LLC and have fun with it, okay? I personally don't particularly like that idea, so that's when I stick with my S corporations. And typically what I do when I get LLCs is they're going to be for my property deals or any kind of, other type of business that I could set up as an LLC using myself as one of the entities on the LLC as one partner. And then I can use my home state S corporation as the other entity as my partner on the new LLC. So that's typically the way I set up LLCs because I think it's just wrong for anybody to want to do a single member LLC. I just don't like that. I don't like the IRS looking at me. And on top of that, the IRS is even more disorganized than they've ever been in history. And so I've been getting all kinds of different weird notices. Like, for example, one of my corporations more recently, I don't know what the heck is going on. I really seriously don't know what's going on with the IRS. But they basically said, stop using this other EIN number, which I've been filing my taxes with for this corporation for at least a solid 3 years. And use this other random, EIN number that I don't even recognize, never even knew existed. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if they just basically gave this old EIN number to 2 different companies or what, but they now want me to start using this new EIN number for my corporate entity. It's just crazy. Some of the weird stuff I've been getting, the weird letters I've been getting from the IRS, just the weird discombobulated forms that weren't filed properly, which I know darn well that they were filed. So if you want to definitely up your chances to increase that, audit, then go ahead and get yourself a single member LLC. And don't be surprised when they come swinging right around because there's something off as far as the computer system, and maybe they didn't even get the form that allowed you to use it as a single member LLC. I've had that happen before, and they basically came after me, and they're just like, hey, you're not even supposed to be an LLC because you're a single member. You never filed the paperwork, which I know I did. So don't do it, okay? Here, save yourself the stress and the letters from the IRS, unless you like getting letters from the IRS. I don't. Maybe you do. I don't know. But I would say just be an S corporation when you're forming your home state corporate entity for the purposes of business credit. So once you have your corporate entity and your EIN, you also want to get yourself a business checking account. If you want to use my secret banker, you can get her information right down below. Her name is Doris, and she's with Bank of America. And the cool thing is, if you have a decent mid-FICO, like around, say, 700, she will offer you a 0% APR promotional period for about 7 to 9 months, depending on what Bank of America is doing right now for their Business Advantage unsecured business credit card program. And she will offer that to you as you open up your checking account for your business. So if you don't have the decent mid-FICO, just tell her no, you don't want that. You do need to have a minimum of $100, and she gets really pissed off at me when people like you start the process of opening up a business checking account and you don't fund the account. You don't actually go down to a branch, down to a Bank of America, and put the $100 in to start the account. She gets really upset. So if you don't plan on actually opening up the account, don't do it, because you're going to be required to have that $100, and you're going to have to go down there and actually physically, give them the $100 to open up the account with your business checking account number that Doris will give to you. So if you don't plan on doing any of that, don't waste her time, okay? Please don't, because it makes me look really, really bad for giving out her information as a referral if you're just one of these tire kickers that's just not serious, okay? So you can do that, or even better, I like to use Navy Federal Credit Union. If you don't personally have a Navy Federal, at least a savings account, and it only costs $5 to open up a savings account. So you can go to Navy Federal. Here's the link down below. And you have to have a military affiliation if you're not already in the military yourself, or hopefully you didn't burn Navy Federal in the past with not paying a loan off or not paying a credit card. Because if you did, then just skip them altogether. But if you didn't, then going into Navy Federal is fairly easy. I recommend that you apply for the account online. I know a lot of people on the internet like to talk about the midnight hack by calling them on the phone, 5 minutes before they close and trying to get an account. Well, I don't know about you, but if I was working at a bank and somebody calls me 5 minutes before I know I'm about to walk out the door really late, having to, navigate through a dark parking lot and hoping I don't get mugged in the process to go home, the last thing I want to do is go through the rigorous 20 to 30 minute process to open up a brand new account for somebody that decides to call at the last possible minute. So many of these people, believe it or not, are not easy to deal with. Like some people on the internet like to claim they are. They're not. They're pissed off. They wanted to go home. They don't want to open up a new account, but they're not legally, well, I should say by policy, by the company policy, they're not able to just shut you down and just hang up, even though probably some of them do, okay? So they're not really happy to help you, which means that the very first moment that they have an opportunity to shut you down and say, hey, listen, you don't qualify, they will. Trust me. The midnight hack does not work as well as you think it does, but the online hack absolutely does. And here's what you do. And I did a video about getting a Navy Federal account, but here's the short of it. You basically go to this website here, and you essentially go through the process of opening up a personal savings account. And again, you need $5. You can fund it with a credit card if you want, or a debit card from another account. And what you can do is they'll say, well, where's your military affiliation? Well, I had a grandfather in the Navy, never met the dude, and I know his name, but I don't even know what his date of birth is. He died a long, long time ago, and he never even had a Navy Federal account. But I just said I had a grandfather in the Navy. They didn't check. They didn't call to ask me any questions about the guy. They didn't ask for his date of birth. They didn't ask for his full name. Nothing. Okay. So if you have, some kind of affiliation, you have a brother, sister, somebody, you just basically say brother, Army, and they're not going to check. Okay. So that's the easiest, fastest way to be able to get a Navy Federal account. And once you get your personal account open, then right away you can actually start a business account with them. You do have to establish a personal account first, and then you can get a business account with them. And then they will, because they're more lenient than most other credit card companies, they will actually approve you for up to $25,000 in an unsecured business credit card. But you do have to provide your Social Security number to be able to do that, okay? And you have to have relatively decent credit. You don't have to have like perfect credit, but you can't be in a 400 FICO score either. All right. So that's not the opportunity I'm talking about here. I'm talking about an unsecured business credit card with a no personal guarantee. So in case you're wondering, well, what is this card, Monica? Like I got all the way to the end of this video, like what's the card? Well, remember, you have to set up your Dun & Bradstreet number first. You have to set up at least 3 trade accounts and then link them into the profile that you built in the Dun & Bradstreet profile that you created. Once you've done that, then what you can do is you can apply for the Sam's Club unsecured business MasterCard, okay? So Sam's Club. So yes, you're going to have a Sam's Club membership, which is not too difficult to do. And when you apply, you should go down to Sam's Club, all right? Don't try to do it online. You're going to have to go down there and show your business credentials. You're probably going to even have to show proof that your business exists, and obviously, show some documentation, show your EIN number. You're also going to want to bring your Dun & Bradstreet number as well. And you want to show that you actually have a legitimate business. And what they'll end up doing is they'll run the credit application through on your Dun & Bradstreet number as well as your EIN number. So hopefully over the course of, say, 90 days or so, you'll have established some, trade lines through places like Uline, for example, or even Office Depot, Office Max. And that will have started to show on your Experian business credit report that would be pulled through your EIN number for your company. And of course, on your PAYDEX score through Dun & Bradstreet, which hopefully is over 80 or 85, even better. And then you can actually qualify for this unsecured Sam's Club MasterCard for your business. And you can get upwards of $12,000. Now, most people report that they get between $6,000 and $10,000. Does not matter. What the cool thing is that you're establishing this unsecured business credit card. So say you're only able to get, a couple thousand, that's fine, because over time, every few months or so, you can ask them for a credit increase, and they'll keep increasing it, and pretty soon, that couple $1,000s will end up being anywhere from $20,000 to $50,000 at some point, completely not only unsecured, but also not under your personal Social Security number. So that is how you can get a no PG, unsecured business MasterCard, is by doing everything that I shared with you in this video. So I hope that was helpful to you. If so, give me a nice thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, drop some comments down below. And if you need help getting your credit squared away, maybe your personal credit is in the toilet, you definitely need some help in getting that fixed, I recommend that you go to getdisputeletters.com or secretcreditletters.com, get my dispute letters and start disputing all the nasty stuff that's on your personal credit reports. Obviously start with what I call the low-hanging fruit, which is to dispute, closed accounts, especially, charge-off accounts or collection accounts. Those are usually the easiest to get removed. So you definitely want to do that right away. You should also get my crash course on exactly how to fix your personal credit as fast as possible by getting into my free school group at school.com/Monica Main. You want to check out the classroom tab once you're admitted into the group. And there's a bunch of different trainings that you can use to be able to fix your personal credit as fast as possible. And you can also get my Credit Millionaire book for free. That's also under the Classroom tab. That will share with you exactly how to fix your personal credit as fast as possible and qualify for endless amounts of unsecured business credit once you understand how the backdoor loopholes work. Now, please note, I will be taking the Credit Millionaire book, down pretty soon, and there's a reason for that. It's because Credit Millionaire 2.0 came out. You can get that on Amazon. And this particular book will be the last book you'll ever need on credit. It's the last book I will write on credit, and it's because it is so comprehensive when it comes to all the rules, regulations for you as the consumer that work for you, that are federal regulations. And you can basically use the federal law as a consumer to get all of this stuff, this negative stuff, removed off your credit legally. Okay, these are unorthodox methods to be able to fix your credit as fast as possible. And in addition to that, in the second half of the book, I talk about how to gain access to unsecured business credit that's not even reported on your personal credit reports, that you can use to build wealth for yourself. Whether you want to invest in real estate, maybe you want to start a side hustle business, maybe you want to buy a business, maybe you want to expand a current business, and you need access to OPM or other people's money to do that. And so the only way to do that is to establish yourself some unsecured business credit. And so I talk all about that in Credit Millionaire 2.0, which again is available on Amazon. So you can go ahead and get that right away. This is Monica Main signing off, and I will see you in the next video.